Well, hey, welcome back to another episode of the YouSchool podcast. We took a little time off for fun, for vacation and 4th of July, all that business. But we're back and talking through the summer about critical life skills that our kids need, skills that they will not get from school. They might not even get these skills until it's way too late. I was having a conversation with a recent high school graduate. We were talking about the students' career plans, and they said that they was just way up in the air, no clue. And yet, what they were passionate about wouldn't make any sense because it wouldn't earn enough money. Now, here's the conversation we're going to have today. We want to teach kids how to earn a living, how to make money. I was talking to another student at the 4th of July parade in our neighborhood, and she said that she'd already got a graduate. She already graduated college, and a grad program was essentially recruiting her to come, and all of her professors were saying, "You got to do this. You got to do this." But she wisely discerned that hardly any of the graduates from that master's program were employed within a year after graduating. So she decided not to do it because she saw that another $40,000-$50,000 of school debt would not yield her earning a living. In fact, she can start earning a living now, skip that money, and probably be way farther ahead, potentially for the rest of her life. So super smart. We want our kids, I want my kids to understand how to make a living, because part of the goal of parenting is to help our kids become ultimately self-sufficient. It's of all the metrics, measurements of are you an effective parent or not, this is a big one. This is like one of the final tests. Can they handle and manage life on their own? Specifically, can they pay their bills? There's always going to be caveats, asterisks, how do you say that? Especially if you're living in California or the coast. I mean, is it really possible to earn a living? But this is one of the markers. Did you prepare your kid to handle their life on their own? Or are they always coming home? Are they always needing money? That's one of the markers. But on the flip side, and this is so much part of the YouSchool conversation, is are they also, as they grow up, on the path towards happiness, meaning, and fulfillment? And what we're going to talk about here is, are these two things mutually exclusive? Let me go back to my story. 3rd grade, I'm getting into the car after school. My mom picks me up and I say, "Gee, Mom, I can't wait till I get older and I'm going to be an elementary school teacher just like Mr. Bailey." And she very quickly said, "I won't forget. Oh, honey, that's not going to work for you, because look at your dad and look what he does for work, how hard he works in business. That's what it takes to be able to provide for a family. And teachers don't make enough to do that." Now, this is not a hate on my mom thing, because she'll probably watch and she'll probably get mad at me. She knows I tell this story. And honestly, I've said the exact same thing to my kids. Reminds me of one of my kids, who shall not be named, but he, my only child, who's a boy, mentioned a couple years ago, when I get older, I want to live at the beach. He's a surfer, loves the beach. And we were coming back from the beach that day. He says, "When I get older, I'm going to live at the beach." So I very quickly, in the same thing that my mom did when I was in 3rd grade, turned to my son and said, "Do you know how much these houses cost? Do you know the kind of career that you would need to have, the kind of work that you would have to do in order to afford to live here?" So it's the same thing. I'm afraid of my son not having the wisdom, the wherewithal, the awareness, any sort of street smarts to be able to be self-sufficient. But I also deeply care about my kids being fulfilled, finding a meaningful life, discovering happiness. So here's the 3 things, 3 steps, 3 principles to help your kid develop a skill of earning a living, where what we're trying to match is passion and interest, pursuit of something that matters, all that sort of like softer stuff in their career pursuits, with you got to earn a living. You got to make money. So 3 things to think about. Number 1, and this is just as much my advice. All these episodes are advice for me too. So, number 1, affirm. They've got something that they're interested in. You be on the lookout for it. Point it out to them. It seems like you're interested in. It seems like you really find life in. It seems like you really care about this. Or as they're sharing something with you and they say things like, when I get older, I want to be a teacher. I want to be an artist. I want to live at the beach and surf all day. That our first move is to be positive about that, affirming. I want my kids, to have big dreams about their future. They do not need that to be squashed right now, today, in this moment by me. What happens though, I think internally, if I'm totally honest, is I feel anxious and I panic and I want to pass along that fear that I have that I'm going to blow it as a parent onto them and say, "Oh, you better buckle up, Buster. It costs a lot of money. There's taxes and there's health insurance and you might lose your job." And I want to turn that voice on that's inside me, it's inside of you, it's inside of everybody, and bring this kind of should, ought, shame, fear. You better be responsible at all costs. That's the point of life. But not this part. We want to affirm them. We want to celebrate. That's awesome. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool to be able to surf one morning and ski in the afternoon. That would be awesome. It'd be so cool to be able to be done with work by 11 in the morning. That'd be awesome. It'd be so cool to be a YouTube star. That'd be awesome. So affirm. Then, as that moment has passed, not 5 minutes later, 15 minutes later, but like 2 days later, the second part is to expose them. And what I mean by this is expose them to the realities of life. Expose them to the realities of how much things cost. Expose them to the realities of how much people earn. How else are they going to learn this stuff? How else do you know? I didn't know that teachers only make a certain amount of money. And to live in Orange County, where I grew up, in South Orange County, in a gated neighborhood like I grew up, that a teacher with one salary with a spouse at home, that was probably not going to be able to work on paper in the math. So we expose them. We expose them to the realities of our own bills, of our own path, the path that we've taken in our career. We expose them to friends, family members, meaning we point out this. Do you know how much that house costs? Do you know how much it costs to live in this neighborhood? Do you know how much rent goes for? Do you know what kind of salary that kind of person makes, an engineer at that company? Google it, look it up. Let's go explore that. We want to be the ones who guide them to be exposed to the realities of life. We want to expose them that there are several ways to make money. We want to expose them to the realities that many people today have multiple streams of income. They have many side hustles. The old traditional kind of you start working at IBM and you finish working at IBM 45 years later and you get a pension and you retire and you play golf. That is one story, but probably not going to be their story, not their reality. So we expose them. The third part would be to inquire with them what it looks like to plug in things that they're interested in, passionate about, curious about, and help them learn, help them make the decisions, help them see the path that would help them get there. Help them inquire about the realities of life. Ask them questions. What do you think? What do you want? What matters to you? So we guide them, we affirm them, we expose them, and then we inquire and help them reflect so that they can become wiser. Critical life skill, understanding how to earn a living, how to make money, how to pay for your life, how to manage things. This, again, is not going to be taught in school. They're not going to get this from YouTube. Well, there's probably some YouTube channels. They can learn this from you. So what does it look like for you this summer to affirm their dreams, their values, things that they're interested in, their passions, their pursuits, to expose them to the realities of who are the people in their life that are doing different kinds of careers and the struggles that they have and the benefits that they get. And then always be asking them questions about what they're interested in, what matters most to them, what their plans are, how they think they can get there. And overall, that turns into wisdom, these critical foundations, critical life skills that every single kid needs. How to earn a living is one of them. Maybe you're still figuring it out. Share it with them. So we'll be back next week with another episode of the YouSchool Podcast. Hey, thanks for joining in on the YouSchool Podcast. We'd love to share with you the resources available on our website at theyouschool.com. Not just articles, ebooks, worksheets, and other podcast episodes, But specifically, you should know about a free course we have available called the Real Me course. It's digital, it's interactive, and it'll guide you to get clear about who you are and the great story you could tell with your life. So go register for a free account and get started on the Real Me course today at YouSchool.com. That's YouSchool.com.